Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. Recently, I wrote myself a poem and I thought, how about I read it out for you? The poem is called Be Not Afraid of Time. There it goes. Be not afraid of time, for you are not it. You are only the words, while it is the page. The page will always remain there, but the words can only fall when they may, or where they may. The words don't have that control. The page does. When the words lie on the page, it holds them from falling on the floor. But the ink still bleeds to the other side to peek at what lies there. Nothing lies there. Not yet. Only the words and the paper beneath it. This is a topic that I have been thinking about lately, and I've been thinking about it a lot. This passage of time and how it fills us with so much worry. And worry is only natural. We live in the time of social media and this time where we are always on the internet and you see things that you don't control. And you always see these young people, rich kids who made it young and they live extraordinary lives and drive extraordinary cars. And it's like the world is always telling you that you need to be like that too, that you need to make it young, that you need to live that extraordinary life when you are in your 20s. And I think for most people, for everybody, that is like the biggest tragedy of the time that we live in. Especially for artists, because I feel like while you want to make what you want to make and you want to be satisfied with that, you also have the thought that you want to make it. Make it in the way that you want to be seen. You want people to appreciate you. You want them to, give you that validation. Now, I am a filmmaker, and I make movies because I had grown up watching them. And I feel like they are the most expressive way for me to express myself. But it's like when I'm making movies, I also want them to be seen. I want them to be showcased at festivals, and I want people to connect with them and to appreciate them and to, applaud. All these things that I cannot control. But you still want that validation. And I feel like that is the greatest dilemma. Because it's like, while at one point, that you want to enjoy the part of creating, and that's all that you really want. But you also cannot hold yourself back from wanting that validation. You can't hold yourself back from wanting people to like it. And it's like, I'm not saying that, you shouldn't be trying to monetize your art. I think that's a whole different topic, but it's like I feel there should be a part of yourself which should make you feel safe for creating. Like when when you keep that in mind, that I need to succeed or this thing needs to work while you're creating something, it can be counterproductive. Because somewhere, I think there should be that peace that even if it doesn't work out, even if nobody sees it, even if nobody likes it, it still deserves to exist. It deserves to have a place in the world regardless. Like I remember Alejandro Inarritu had asked this question in a press conference, or was it in some round table? He said, let's say tomorrow, everybody in the world ceases to exist, all right? And it's only you that remains. Would you still create movies? Would you still create movies even if nobody would see it? And this is a question that really stops you in your tracks. This is a question that really makes you investigate. Is that creativity is more than just a luxury. It is a necessity. It is something that you have to do. It is a part of survival. Because you need to express yourself to survive, to keep yourself sane. It's like, say, we think of the first humans that existed, right? Our ancestors. And you think of cavemen. And you think of the things that they left us behind. The cave paintings, the weapons, the clothing. And you see that even in those things, there is a spark of expression, of creativity, of design. Those things were made by human beings. They didn't just come out of nowhere. And so, it's like design plus expression meets practicality. And I think that is the most beautiful pair that actually makes art. Right? No art is unnecessary. No art is purposeless. All art has purpose. It deserves to exist because it has purpose. Anything that does not have any purpose cannot be art. And it's that thing that makes it so beautiful and so rewarding to create, because it's necessary. You can't force it. It's just coming out of you. For some people, it's as natural as breathing. It's like they can't help it. And I think that's how it should be anyway. It is a necessity that's bursting out of you. It can't stop inside you. It can't just cease there. It has to come out. And unless that is the case, you shouldn't make anything. Because you can't force it. And that won't be art. That won't be worth it. That wouldn't have any purpose. And I feel like, nowadays you have these young filmmakers like Kane Parson and Curry Baker, and they're making movies that are great and are making a lot of money at the box office, and it makes other filmmakers think, hey, maybe we should be like that, but we aren't. And look, I'm not saying that I'm against these guys. Like to be honest, I really admire Kane Parson. I thought Backrooms was a great movie, especially for a young filmmaker. But what I'm trying to say is that what the idea of a Kane Parson does to your mind. What an idea of somebody who's the same age as you or maybe even younger does to your mind. How it makes you doubt yourself. But that should not be the case. Just as a side note, if you see Kane Parson, and as much as I know of him from his interviews, I think Kane Parson is excellent. Like, he's somebody who's also driven by, fascination or curiosity, which is how it should be, to be honest. In your 20s, you should not be chasing success. You should be chasing learning. You want to learn more and more and more, and you want to hone your skill until one day you get that chance. And then you create the best thing possible. But until that day, you must learn and you must enjoy. You must let your curiosity drive you. Because if not, then what is the point of being young at all? This is a time when you're supposed to get those chances. If you don't, then what are we even doing? And listen, great things take time. Right? Nothing comes easily. And you have to remember that time is your friend. Time is on your side. And you must accept that friendship with time. Don't make time your enemy. Don't think that it's running out, that you need to race with time. Just learn that you need to race with it. And that's how it is. It's also the path of being an artist is supposed to be difficult anyway. We can't try to make it easier. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be difficult. But I think that toughness, that difficulty should give you vigor. It should make you feel like, yes, I accept that challenge. Because regardless of it, I want to create. And that's what makes that art worth it. That you created it regardless of the challenges, and that is why it deserves to exist in this world. The other day I read about this director, right? And it was like this story where in his 40s, he almost gave up filmmaking. Before that, he had made a couple of short films and even a few features, but they didn't really work, and they made him doubt himself, and he felt like, maybe this is not worth it. So they were failures, right? Those films were failures, right? Or so we think. But at 42, this man made another film. After a long time, he made a film, and that film was his final breakout. He made it, put him on the map, and from there the rest is history. He kept making movies and blockbusters, and wow, he's like one of the great directors of the world. And that director was Denis Villeneuve. And that film was Incendies. But it's not that one film, is it? Even the films before it, how can we say they were failures? He had some great learnings from them, but they didn't work out at that time. But that does not mean that they don't deserve to be. And I think it's similar with all of our journey, where it's like things you're making now may not work at that time. Like They may not get their due now, but you never know that someday somebody might see it. Someday people will appreciate your work. Someday that art that was made back then could add a lot of meaning to everybody's life. And you don't realize that now. Nobody realizes. But that is why time is your friend, because it is unpredictable. And it will change, because it always does. And art, you must hold on to it, because that is what is keeping you alive. That is what keeps you going, even though it is also the reason for your pain, but that is also the reason that you keep on going. If you see great artists like Tarkovsky or Van Gogh, these people didn't make art because they had great evidence that they could, that people appreciated them. They made art regardless of it. Because without it, it would be impossible to even exist. Listen, everybody has their own journey. And every journey has its own purpose. And every purpose has its own path. And every path takes its own time. But just because one path takes more time than the other does not mean that this path is less important than the others. Time is not the factor for importance. It is determination and perseverance, and the fact that you still walked when you couldn't. You kept making because you knew you had no other option. And we keep asking life what its purpose is. Like, what is the purpose of our lives? But I think we must ask ourselves, what is our purpose towards life? What can we give life? And let's say you are successful tomorrow. Let's say success arrives. Will that change the way that you see art? Will that change the way that you make it?